Illinois playoffs are starting tonight. A lot of Iowa high school teams are battling right down, to the last tick of the clock to get into their playoffs. So should see a great game. Two great teams, two great, traditional teams that are always in the playoffs. So this should be a great shootout here at Spartan Stadium.
PV will be kicking away from the center, back deep for the Knights at the goal line. Ben Ehrman, as I believe Ryan Morales will tee it up from the near hash mark at the 40-yard line. Don't forget playoff action tomorrow on AM 1270 starting at 1 o'clock. The Rock Island Rocks in the 6A playoffs, so the opening round will take on Mount Vernon. And then at 7 o'clock, a game that I'll do, Alleman will host Holy Cross from River Grove. As the kick is a deep one, it'll sail into the end zone. Ehrman catches it on the fly. It'll be a touchback. The Knights will start on offense from their own 20-yard line.
Well, Pleasant Valley kicker did a great job. There's a wind blowing that way, Pete. He used the wind and also got the ball up in the air and pushed it in the end zone. And the high school rule, once the ball crosses the line, you can't return it. Assumption ball at the 20-yard line.
1st and 10 for the Knights. They'll go with a 3-receiver set, twins to one side. And as Powers under center, 2 tight ends, no running back on the play as the 2 Knights move on the right side of the line. Number 34, one of the culprits, that would be Andy Frankson.
Andy Franson jumped that time. Assumption lined up and empty, Pete. They showed 2 tights, 3 wide outs, no backs. I don't know exactly what they were going to run, but I think that what they want to do early is shoulder formation, see how Pleasant Valley is going to line up, and then they have a pretty good idea of what they can run against different adjustments by the Pleasant Valley defense.
They'll line up in the same formation. Powers under center, 2 tight ends, 3 receivers, no one in the backfield. Powers will drop back, look downfield. It's got Mitchell over the middle. Mitchell off his fingertips, cannot come up with a catch. Would have been good around the 30-yard line, and he might have been off to the races if he catches that one.
On that time, Powers looked right at Mitchell, and the guy, Franzen, on the other side was wide open. And I think, if they come back to that play, they'll have to look left and throw right. There was definitely a crease on the, with Franzen running down the middle. That would have been a tough catch. That ball was thrown a little high.
It'll be 2nd down and 15 for the Knights. Ball at their own 15-yard line. They'll go in the I formation this time. 2 tight ends and a receiver. Fullback starts in motion to the right side. Mitchell over right tackle, a lot of running room. He'll get about 7 or 8 of those yards back. It's going to be 3rd down and 6 for the Knights.
Well, it was a good explosive play that time. Assumption fullback looked like Bentler that time was the lead blocker, but what happened is the Pleasant Valley cornerback, Greenwood, came off, made a nice play. If he doesn't make that play, Pete, Mitchell might have had a huge run on that one.
Matt Brumfield brings the play in for the Knights. He'll split out to the near side, the wide side. They'll go with 2 tight ends. Mitchell, the lone running back. Mitchell will get the carry over left tackle. A lot of running room as he crosses the 30-yard line. It'll be a 1st down for the Knights.
That's just an outside zone play, and they're just using Mitchell's speed. And once again, if the Assumption receivers can stay with their blocks, they're going to have bigger plays out of there. But the Pleasant Valley defensive backs are doing a great job of fighting off the blocks. But you don't want your DBs making all your tackles tonight, Pete.
And if there's a super sophomore in this conference, it is definitely Michael Mitchell, one of the most exciting players that we'll see over the next couple of years. Mitchell up the middle. Nice line surge by the Pleasant Valley defensive line. They're going to hold him to a gain. Very short gain, right near the line of scrimmage. That's 1 yard on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 9 for the Knights.
And Pleasant Valley's defensive line have been tough all year, led by Bowling, and that time it was Wakeland, and you'll hear those guys all night long because they are playmakers for the Spartans.
10:44 to play in the 1st quarter. This is the game's 1st drive. Assumption on offense. They are at their own 33-yard line, as they'll go handoff from Brumfield from his wingback's position, and he'll have a gain of just a couple of yards on the play, so another new lick for the Knights.
Well, the Pleasant Valley defense shifted at the last minute, Pete, and it actually helped them. They had a guy lined up wrong, and he went running over to the side where for Assumption they were running the ball, and Pleasant Valley defense had a nice play that time.
It's going to be 3rd down and 5, ball at the 36-yard line. Knights 2 receivers split to the short side of the formation. Mitchell lines up as the lone running back. Powers drops back to pass, sees some open room, tucks it under. It's going to be met hard by Bowling. Bowling will take him back, but I think Powers is enough for a 1st down.
You can tell Bowling's a wrestler, Pete. Powers needed to lean he definitely got it, but he just barely. But Bowling, being that, really strong wrestler, grabbed him and threw him backwards, but he got the mark. 1st down for the Knights.
It's kind of funny looking at the PV roster. Bowling's not even listed. Oh, there he is at the bottom.
Yeah, they keep switching. They've switched some numbers with it. That one time he was 31, Pete. We saw that at the beginning of the year.
Mitchell again up the middle for the Knights, dances at the line of scrimmage. He'll have a gain of about 3 or 4 yards. He saw an opening over the left tackle position. It's going to be second down and 6, we'll call it, for the Knights. They are right at their own 48, 49-yard line.
You know, right now Assumption's doing a good job of getting their plays in and out. They're getting out of the huddle quickly, getting the ball snapped, and you know they're kind of beating PV off the line.
Second down and 6, 9:15 to play in the first quarter. No score. Powers, 3-step drop down the middle of the field, completed on the play to the tight end. It'll be a first down, big gainer for the Knights, about 16 yards. Pass completed to Andy Franson.
You know, when they go to these double tights, they'll use Bentler and Andy Franzen. And Andy Franzen's a big kid, and he's also a very good athlete for him. He's 6'2", about 205 pounds, so he has 2 nice targets. And that's the route, Pete, I said they would go back to, because the last time Mitchell was covered and Franzen was open, and a good call by Jerry Teal to come right back to that play.
Jerry Teal on the sidelines tonight, not up here in the press box. First and 10, ball at the 33, 34-yard line of PV is counter play up to the wingback. Wingback gets about 4 yards on the carry. That's Matt Brumfield.
Well, the Assumption offensive line right now, Peter, really firing off the ball, and that's been the big difference why Assumption continues to get 3 or 4 yards a carry. Their offensive line's doing a great job so far.
It'll be second down and 7, 8:30 to play in the first quarter. No score. This is the game's first drive. The Knights took over at their own 20-yard line. On the first play, they went back 5 yards on a motion penalty, but they've been positive yardage since, as double wing set formation with 2 tight ends. As the quick pitch will go to Mitchell. Mitchell will follow the block of Powers. He's not going to get anywhere. As a matter of fact, he'll lose a couple of yards on the play. It's going to be third down and long for the Knights.
Well, if Mitchell that time stays in the crease, Pete, he has a play, but sometimes he does dances. He's a young back, only a sophomore. That hole was going to probably be a little bit more inside, and he hesitated, and a great job that time by Lind and the Pleasant Valley defense.
It's going to be third down and 7 from the 31 from the Knights as the referees take an official timeout. Looks like somebody tying their shoe on the play. Jeremy Pringer, number 40. As John, we got a pretty nice crowd out tonight.
Yeah, we really do.
Arriving crowd.
Well, they had to get their trick-or-treat candy all handed out, Pete. You know, they weren't like you, kind of just snubbed that responsibility. So
Trips to the wide side of the formation, 3rd and 7. Powers rolls out to the wide side, and he's going to cut it up the middle, and he's going to throw a pass. It's going to be incomplete on the play. Very nearly, Powers was across the line of scrimmage, and the Knights are going to send on their special teams unit. We'll see which one this is, if it's field goal or punt. They are going away from the wind, against the wind, and this is going to be a punt, I believe, although Powers is... Yep, it'll be a punt. Punting for the Knights, number 24, Mike Brantner. Brantner will punt from the PV 42-yard line. PV a little confused on the play. They have no one back deep. And Brantner angles it and gets a wobbler of a kick, and it's going to be caught on the play almost by Joe Hoeksma. And he goes into the end zone with the ball, but a penalty flag is going to be called down as the PV defensive back was all over Hoeksma as he tried to field the punt in the air, and we'll see what this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, because Hoeksma has a chance to catch that ball in the air, and it looked like the Pleasant Valley defender actually held him. So it is going to. Well, now they signaled that against Assumption, Pete, but they.
No, hey, you need to talk to him, Coach.
We'll see.
I mean, it should be defensive holding against Pleasant Valley, and right now they signaled Joe Hoeksma for I don't know what they're doing here, Pete. Now they're bringing the ball all the way back to the line of scrimmage.
And the official calls, what is that? Pass interference against the offense?
You know, they signaled it against Assumption. They pointed at Assumption, and now they're backing it up 5 yards. And I'll tell you, it was against Assumption. That's going to be the call, which was the wrong call. And now, because It would have been PV's ball at the 3-yard line. PV's going to have Assumption re-kick it, but that's not a very good call by the official because Joe Huxema, as a guy going down to cover the punt, does have the right to catch the ball in the air.
So Brantner will punt it off, this time from his own 45. It's a high wobbler of a punt. It's going to be not muffed on the play. Ball loose. Assumption falls on it at the 23-yard line as the Knights will get it back over on the possession chain. So the penalty turns out okay for the Knights. Bill Harrell, what do you got? Thank you, Bill. As a Knight down on the ground, looks like we have an injured player.
Well, P, this is a good time to thank some of our great sponsors.
We'll take over 1st and 10 from the Pleasant Valley 24-yard line, almost the same spot where they punted the first time before the penalty happened. So 1st and 10 for the Knights. They'll go with an I formation, 2 receivers. A wide receiver, Ben Ehrman, splits out to the near side. On 1st down, Powers from his knees will hand it off to Mitchell. Mitchell, nothing over left tackle. Actually, I think that's Joe Conklin at quarterback for the Knights.
Well, they brought him in down here maybe because they thought they're going to run the ball a little bit. That's kind of interesting. They changed quarterbacks this early. The other thing, Pete, Pleasant Valley's defensive line all year, especially with Bolin and Wakeland and those guys, really get great gap penetration. They cause a lot of problems for the opposing teams.
On 2nd down, trips formation to the wide side of the formation. Conklin will roll out. Play is going to be blown dead on the play. Someone must have moved early.
Well, this has been one of Assumption's weaknesses this year. When they get close to the red zone, they do make some mistakes. This time it looks like a procedure penalty, and Assumption will be marched back 5 more yards.
Thank you, Bill. He's going to be on the spot tonight, John. Bill is going to be there for us.
He's going to be Bill on the spot. So
it'll be 2nd down and 14 from the 28. We got 6 minutes to play in the first quarter, no score. Just an extension of the game's first drive after the muff punt by Pleasant Valley. On 2nd and 14, Conklin on the quarterback keeper up the middle, and he's going to be stopped at the 19-yard line. He's going to get about 10 yards back. It's going to be 3rd down and about 5 for the Knights.
That play was very well executed by Assumption. Did a great job of blocking in their interior line. Conklin, when they get to empty set, Pete, he's definitely a threat as a runner.
Man, it is cold outside. I'm going to close the window. 3rd
Come on,
down
Pete.
And 6, 5:30 to play in the first quarter. 3 receiver set for the Knights. Conklin looks to run again up the middle. He'll be taken down right near the 15-yard line. It's going to be 4th down for the Knights. They will send on the field goal units. So Matt Finley will get a 32 or 33-yard attempt from the near hash, kicking left to right.
Assumption's missing a kid.
Yep, Assumption doesn't have enough. Assumption does not have enough people.
They're missing a couple guys, so you better take a timeout. I don't know if
they're missing another one, aren't they? They're only got 10 guys out there.
We're missing a wing.
Yep. As you can hear Mike Fox in the background from 33, Fenley's kick is up, and it is good with only 10 guys out there. A 33-yard field goal from Matt Fenley is good. Assumption on the scoreboard first. 3-0 Knights. It's MAC football here on WOC Talk Radio 1420.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, we're blowing that center up.
Brumfield's kickoff will be fielded at the 5-yard line by the Knights. Straight up the middle and off to the side, off to the races is Brett Greenwood. Greenwood at the 40, and he's going to be taken down right near the 32-yard line in Assumption territory. Right up the middle, nobody touched, a lot like Justin Thompson last week. against the Blue Devils for the Spartans, John.
Well, when I talked to Coach Morrissey this week, Pete, he really felt that Greenwood would be the guy that would have to take Thompson's places on a lot of these special teams and also a little bit at wingback. So great return, and obviously they spend some time on their kickoff return team, Pete, because it's come up huge all year for them.
So the Spartans, their first play from scrimmage, 1st and 10 from the Knight 32-yard line, 4:40 to play in the first quarter, 3-0, Knights on top. They go with the fullback up the middle, a little bit of running room near the line of scrimmage. That is Kevin Lynn, Mike Martinez, number 43. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for the Spartans.
For Assumption, John Highland, 5'11", 255 pounds. He plays that defensive tackle spot inside. Came up with the stop for the Knights.
Austin Ziegler, the quarterback, number 11, breaks him out of the huddle. They'll go with a wing set, actually a double wing set with Martinez, the fullback. And Lynn will start in motion. He'll receive the pitch. He'll follow some blockers across the left side of the formation. And he is going to be taken down as he crosses the 25-yard line. He'll be held shy of the first down marker. It's going to be 3rd down and 3 for the Spartans. I thought he got a little bit more on the carry.
Bentler came up, made the initial hit, but Lynn used a spin move, started to get away, and then Assumption's pursuit knocked Lynn back again. So, it was a pretty good pursuit angles by the Assumption defense.
3rd down and 3 from the 25, 3:30 to play in the first quarter. Assumption 3, Pleasant Valley 0. This is the Spartans' first drive of the game. Lynn will start in motion again, but Ziegler will roll out, looking downfield into the end zone, and it's going to be caught. Touchdown, Spartans. A 25-yard touchdown reception to number 15, David Kubik.
Well, David Kubik's a guy, Pete, that because, Mo didn't feel real comfortable about their passing game early in the year. He was one of their top receivers, excellent guy. Ran a great route. The only thing that they had 3 or 4 guys open on that route, so Ziegler had his choice. But obviously, you always look deep to short, and he hit the deep guy, touchdown PV.
Ryan Morales will be in to try the point after attempt. And then we'll report down with Bill Horrell. The kick is up, and it is good. 7-3 the score. Spartans go on top of the Knights. Bill.
You got to give credit, though, to Greenwood for the big return, and that set up that short scoring drive for the Spartans.
7-3 the score. Pleasant Valley goes on top of Assumption. Again, winner of this game will head to the Class 4A playoffs. The winner will be on the road, most likely either Bettendorf or Muscatine, as Morales' kick taken by Ehrman right at the 1-yard line. If he lets that go, it's a touchback. Ehrman up the middle, breaks a tackle. Can't break another one, but he'll have the ball in good field position at the Pleasant Valley 25-yard line.
That was a great kick by PV, but Ehrman did a super job, Pete, of getting his feet under control. He didn't slip. Then he sprinted up through that crease and got through it, and that's a nice return if you can get it out past the 25-yard line.
So Assumption will start on offense from their own 26-yard line with 3:12 to play in the first quarter. Pleasant Valley leads 7-3. Spartans just run 3 plays on offense, and they get a touchdown. I formation, Mitchell up the middle. Breaks away from one tackle, can't break a second. He'll have a nice gain across the 30-yard line to the 31. It'll be 2nd down and 5 for the Knights.
Assumption offensive line came off really strong that time and got a good push, and Mitchell's finding the creases, but I tell you what Pleasant Valley does do. They really rally the ball very well, Pete, and they don't let Mitchell bounce off and find that second crease.
John Powers back in at quarterback for the Knights. I formation. They'll give it to Mitchell. Mitchell up the middle. He's going to be hit hard near the line of scrimmage. He'll stumble forward for a gain of a yard or 2. It's going to be 3rd down and short for the Knights.
Well, that time Pleasant Valley defensive line used some slant technique, and they slanted right towards where Mitchell wanted to go. And Pleasant Valley defensive line continues to show how quick they are. They're not the biggest guys in the world, 185, 190, but they sure know how to play football.
Ehrman will split out on the 3rd down and short. They'll go with 2 tight ends. I formation. Tight line splits. They'll go with the fullback up the middle. He will plunge forward for a nice gain, about 5 yards on to get the first down. I believe fullback number 27, Austin Mayfield. Mayfield 5'11", 190, a junior.
By that time, it looked like Mayfield was initially going to stop, but Assumption has some size in their offensive line, and Mayfield just kept those legs churning. They got a push, and they got a big enough push for the first down.
Under 2 minutes to play in the first quarter. 7-3 the score. Pleasant Valley leads Assumption. This time Mayfield will line up in a slot formation, and they'll run Mitchell his way. Mitchell will cut back, and he is going to be brought down in the backfield by Kevin Lynn. Mitchell decided not to go with where the play was going, cut it back, and couldn't quite break free of Lynn.
Well, what Pleasant Valley defenders will do, and that time was Jason Bowling, they get into those gaps and they penetrate the gaps, and to Mitchell, it looks like that hole's gone, so he tried to go away from the hole, but the speed of the Pleasant Valley defense, Kevin Lynn again, continues to make numerous tackles for Pleasant Valley.
Spread formation, nobody in the backfield, 4 receiver set. Powers to the flat to Mitchell. Mitchell gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd down and 10 for the Knights.
Well, that was great cover 2 corner technique that time by Greenwood. Kind of held his coverage a little bit. Then he came up and he let number 1 slant into the safety, played off and stayed into the flat. He didn't get outflanked, and he's only a sophomore, Pete. That was a great play, good tackle, and a short game for the Knights.
It'll be 3rd down and 9. 40 seconds to play in the first quarter. 7-3. Spartans lead the Knights. On 3rd down, Ehrman in motion down the line of scrimmage. The bootleg out. Powers looks down the field, and he is going to be brought down from behind. Sacked on the play by our man, Jason Bowling.
Jason Bowling, he's going to cause the Assumption Knights a lot of problems with his quickness. And what Powers has got to see, Assumption initially had a guy open, and Powers hesitated there for a minute. He had to pull the ball down, and Mr. Bowling was right there to tackle him.
Knights are going to have to punt this one away, but we'll probably wait till the start of the second quarter to do it. Our score after 1, Pleasant Valley 7, Assumption 3. It's MAC football here on WOC Talk Radio 1420. To start the second quarter of action, Assumption will be punting from their own 23-yard line. Our score after 1, Pleasant Valley 7, Assumption 3. Assumption on the scoreboard with a 33-yard field goal from Matt Finley, and David Kubik answered with a 25-yard touchdown reception. As the punt from Assumption is a spiral, it'll bounce at the PV 30-yard line, take an Assumption roll, and it's going to roll dead right at the PV 20-yard line. Nice punt from number 24, Mike Brantner.
That's one thing Assumption's been good at all year, Pete, has been their kicking game. Finley gets the field goal, give the Knights 3 points, and at times Brantner gets an excellent punt, no return, and it'll be PV's ball down to 20, and that's what you want. High school teams got to force them to go a long way for their scores.
On 1st down, Austin Ziegler and the Pleasant Valley Spartan offense back out on the field. 1st and 10 from their own 20 at the near hash mark. They'll go with a double wing set formation. Greenwood and Lynn line up as wings. It looks like Mike Martinez in the backfield at fullback. Greenwood will get the carry, and he is going to be stumbles at the line of scrimmage, plunges forward for a yard or 2 or 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Spartans. Fans, if you're at another game listening in here on the Iowa side, give Maurice a call in the WOC studios at 344-7040 with your score. We'd like to hear from you wherever you're at. If you're over at Brady Street Stadium or if you're in Clinton, we'd love to hear from you. That phone number again is 344-7040. What is the score at your game? This time, split backs in the backfield. Straight dive up the middle. Handoff goes to Lynn. Lynn fights through 1 tackle, 2 tackles. Can't break through from a 3rd tackle. He's going to be taken down as he crosses the 40-yard line. Nice play by Ted Bentler, drags him down from behind. So Pleasant Valley will have another 1st down.
Well, that was, Kevin Lynn is he's a power running back, and that time Assumption linebackers stepped up and make the play, and Lynn just lowered his shoulder, ran over him, and then continued to make a great run down the sideline, and Bentler had to come from the opposite side to get him out of bounds.
1st and 10, 10:50 to play in the first quarter. 7-3 the score. Pleasant Valley on top of Assumption. Lynn will start in motion again. They'll give it to Martinez up the middle. Martinez stopped at the line of scrimmage, brought down on the play. Oh, Who is that? Number 15 for the Knights. We'll give credit to Mike Craddock.
As Mike Craddock and Tony Judge. Tony Judge, big guy inside there, about 6'4", 290. He was able to stop, pretty much stand up the offensive lineman from PV and make the stop. Assumption's trying to adjust their defense a little bit here. They lined up in a 6-2 early in the game to stop PV, and now they're lined up in 5-2s and 4-3 alignments. They're back to the 6-2 here.
Second down and 10. Double wing set formation on the counter to Greenwood. Same play they ran on first down before, and Greenwood stumbles forward for a gain of 2 yards. It's going to be third down and 6 for the Spartans. Ball will be spotted at their own 45-yard line. 7-3 the score. Pleasant Valley on top of Assumption. Winner of this game moves on to the 16-team field of the Class 4A playoffs. We'll have a first-round game for you Wednesday evening, most likely over on Fox Sports Radio, 12:30. And then should we have a team in the second round, we'll do that game next Monday, the 11th, as Ziegler will run the option. He'll keep it himself up the middle. He'll be close to a first down, depending on where the refs spot the ball.
That ended up, Pete, being number 8, Brett Greenwood, and that's the guy that Coach Morrissey felt he was going to use in different spots tonight. And that time they snuck him in at quarterback to run the option play.
And the pitch man on the play was Ziegler.
Exactly. So, you know, when it comes to big games, and I'll tell you this about Coach Morrissey, I've seen him coach for a long time. He always comes up with new wrinkles all the time, and that's why, to me, year in and year out, he always does a super job of coaching his young guys.
This time Ziegler and Mark Klein will split out to the wide side of the formation, split backs in the backfield. Straight dive up the middle. Big hole for Kevin Lynn, bouncing off the people. First down, 12-yard gain for the Spartans. That's just power football.
That's just power football, and you got to be able to wrap up when you tackle. If they don't wrap up on Lynn, Assumption's going to be in trouble the rest of the night, Pete, because we've seen him run all year, and he keeps those shoulder pads low, knees driving, and that's probably 3 or 4 tackles he's already broken tonight.
8:50 to play in the half. 7-3 the score. Pleasant Valley leads Assumption. This time, Ryan Wendt will split out. Double wing set formation in the backfield. Greenwood will line up at slot as they'll run the counter crisscross to Greenwood. Greenwood and some running room over right tackle. He'll have a gain of about 8 or 9 yards. It's going to be second down and short for the Spartans.
All right, Pleasant Valley offensive line, even though they're not real big, Pete, but they're very quick off the line, and they know how to block, and doing a super job so far tonight.
Bill. I'm not sure when it's going to be seen. We'll check with Jess at halftime. But he'll be over at the Orion playoff game you can see sometime this week, and also the Alleman Holy Cross game on Channel 19. On second and short, I think we had Kevin Lynn up the middle. He'll cross the 25-yard line, good enough for a first down for the Spartans. Again, playoff football on the Quad City Radio Group airwaves tomorrow afternoon with Rock Island at 1 o'clock on AM 1270. Mark Gellerman will have the call. And then tomorrow night at 7, myself and Dan McGuire, former head coach of the Moline Maroons, will call Alleman and Holy Cross on AM 1270. First down and 10 for the Spartans. Double wing set formation. Greenwood and Lynn will be the wing. Greenwood will start in motion. Second back through is Greenwood, and he's going to be stood up near the line of scrimmage for no gain at all. Nice line surge by the defensive line, coached by Tim O'Neill, led by Ted Bentler, the Iowa recruit, number 43.
Assumption's defense, I know Coach King went out there and got them fired up. They were starting to stand up out of their stance, weren't playing low, and Pleasant Valley was winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. It brings up a second and long now for PV.
Second down and 10 from the 24, 7-12 to play in the half. Pleasant Valley 7, Assumption 3. This time Lynn will go in motion down the line of scrimmage. They'll do the pitch to Martinez. Martinez cuts it up, and he's going to be brought down from behind by Ryan Butler. And Butler had a load of steam behind him. Martinez picks up a nice gain of about 6 yards on the play. It's going to leave a third down and 4 for the Spartans.
You know, right now there's a big difference between the way Pleasant Valley corners come up to support an Assumption. That time the Assumption corner didn't come up and hit it. He caused a crease. He got pushed outside, and that was a nice little running lane for Pleasant Valley.
3rd down and 3 from the 16. 6:30 to play in the first half. Pleasant Valley driving. They lead 7-3. Went will split out to the wide side of the field. Lynn will start in motion. And the handoff will go to Martinez up the... No, actually, who is that?
Probably Greenwood again.
Yeah, Greenwood on the counter play. I thought Martinez had it up the middle. If he would have had it, he would have been walking into the end zone. Anyways, first down for Pleasant Valley.
Well, it looked like Lynn might have went in motion.
Yeah.
He went in motion, then he stopped, then he leaned again. Probably should have been a flag, but there was no call. We've seen that a couple times tonight by both sides. So, a good break for PV.
1st and 10 at the 13-yard line. 6 minutes to play in the half. 7-3 to score. Pleasant Valley leading Assumption. Ziegler will quick pitch it to Lynn. Lynn over left tackle. He's going to be dropped right at the 10-yard line. Nice tackle by number 15. That is Mike Craddock for the Knights.
Yeah, Craddock did a good job because, Lynn's been running over guys, so that time he took his legs out, so he couldn't do it. So nice play by Craddock.
On 2nd down and 7, they need to get to the 3 or 4 yard line for another first down. 5:30, the clock running. 5:30 to play in the first half. Pleasant Valley 7, Assumption 3. Double wing set formation with 2 tight ends. Greenwood will take the pitch. He's going to bounce it outside. Running room into the 5 to the goal line. Referee signal touchdown. A 7-yard run for Brent Greenwood as Pleasant Valley takes a 13-3 lead over the Knights.
Well, we wondered who was going to take Justin Thompson's place tonight, making big plays, and obviously the answer is going to be number 8, Brett Greenwood. He's only a sophomore, 6'1", 164 pounds. He returns punts, kickoffs, plays corner, quarterback, and running back. He's a very versatile athlete, and Ed Morrissey has a good one in him.
Morales will be set to try the point after attempt. And the kick is up. Looks good from here. It is good. We'll take a timeout. Our score, Pleasant Valley 14, Assumption 3. It's MAC football here on WOC Talk Radio, 1420. Oh, wow. Maurice, drop out. On the kickoff by the Spartans, Ted Bentler takes it and fumbles the football back to Pleasant Valley. Number 24, Cade Mahler, comes up with the fumble recovery. It was a very short kick against the wind. Bentler took it and couldn't hang on to it after he was hit. On the first play from scrimmage, Pleasant Valley loses a couple of yards. Actually, Austin Ziegler fumbles the snap but gets back on it. It's 2nd down and 12. As they'll run the counter crisscross, Brent Greenwood with the ball. He's going to be hit. He's going to be met pretty hard by Mr. Bentler. He'll drop him right at the 30-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 11. Bill, what'd you see it down there?
Bentler with the tackle. Greenwood picks up a yard.
Lynn's out. They're putting in a passing formation. Half.
Thank you, Bill Horrell. 3rd down and 10. 4 minutes to play in the first half. Pleasant Valley leads 14-3 with great field position after the turnover on the kickoff. As waggle route. Actually, they're going to do a throwback screen, and it's going to be snuffed out. Bentler breaks the tackle, though, but this one's just going to get back to the line of scrimmage. Number 27, the receiver for the Spartans.
That ended up being 33, Pete,
33.
Sean Flynn.
Okay.
And then what they did is they sprinted right and or booted right and tried to run that play action and throw the screen. But Butler did a great job of staying at home and had a shot at Flynn and didn't quite get him to the ground. And then Assumption's defense rallied to it.
PV will take a timeout. Let's take a 1-minute timeout. 3:18 to play in the first half. PV 14, Assumption 3 will come back with fourth down. It's MAC football here on WOC Talk Radio 1420. A 47-yard field goal attempt turns into a fake field goal. They called fake field goal as the holder, the holder would have been Bent Greenwood on the play, rolls out and throws it into the Assumption sideline. Against the wind, they weren't going to kick a 47-yard field goal.
No, and I think Assumption defense talked that over. They really didn't fake it out. And Greenwood did the right thing. He didn't want to take the sack and lose a lot more yardage out of it, so he just threw it away. Ends up being Assumption's ball.
Honestly, I think I would have been inclined to punt it away there.
Right.
1st and 10 for the Knights. Conklin in at quarterback. He's going to be sacked on the play, and you've got 5 offensive linemen for Assumption looking at each other while you got 3 Pleasant Valley defenders all celebrating, led by number 60, Rob Wakeland.
Well, Rob, we've said his name a lot tonight. Whatever matchup he has, he's beating his guy across the line, and he's causing a lot of havoc in the Assumption backfield right now.
2:45 to play in the first half. Pleasant Valley 14, Assumption 3, winner to the 4A playoffs. 3 receivers set for the Knights, nobody in the backfield, 2 tight ends on the play. Conklin looks over for Ehrman. Ehrman knew he was going to take a big shot. He took a big shot, and he drops the football as the big shot came from number 50, and that is, well, not list number 32. Well, number 32 is on the ground. That's Ben Ehrman. Number 50 applied the shot for Pleasant Valley. We don't have a 50 in our program, but Ehrman is down, and he took a good shot right to the head region and rolled over onto his stomach and did not move after that as Wade King slowly makes his way onto the field. We've got
That's my ring. That's 782 right there.
Out in the field, but it was a good clean hit. It was just two shoulder pads colliding a little bit, and sometimes that happens in the game of football.
when we resume action, it'll be 3rd down and 15. Assumption has the ball. They are at their own 25-yard line.
Well, Pete, let's take time to thank Maxwell Transmission specialist with over 20 years of experience in Eastern Iowa community colleges, building bridges to your future. And also improve your focus at Anderson and Brown Eye Care, Coral Ridge Mall, Coralville, and North Park Mall, Davenport. And how about Molyneux Insurance? For all your insurance and financial needs, the only name you need to know is Molyneux.
As the ambulance will take Mr. Ehrman off of the field and onto the track, as we'll have 3rd down and 15 from the 25. Our score, Pleasant Valley 14, Assumption 3. We've got 2:31 to play in the football game. Again, Bill Horrell had said that Ehrman motioned to the Assumption side with the thumbs up sign. We couldn't see it because the ambulance was in our way, but back to action on 3rd down. Conklin drops back to pass, goes deep across the middle. Mitchell catches it at the 40, and no flags down. He will waltz into the end zone. Boy, a 75-yard touchdown reception for the Knights.
Well, I'll tell you what, in that play they got Pleasant Valley in a cover 2 look, and if you're going to play cover 2, you got to be able to reroute receivers and give them to widen to your deep safety, and they didn't do it that time. And also the deep safety for Pleasant Valley got ran by, and Mitchell has speed, and that was a great call for Assumption and a very good throw and catch for the Knights.
Wow. 75 yards, Conklin to Mitchell on the fly. ran right by the defensive backs into the end zone, no problem, untouched, extra point. Up and blocked on the play. It is blocked on the play. Big line surge for the Pleasant Valley Spartans. So the score will remain 14-9. Spartans on top.
Well, maybe Ben Ehrman's thumb up sign to the Knights fired him up, Pete, because that was a huge play for Assumption, and it gets him right back into the game.
So extra point blocked on the play. 14-9, our score. Wow, what a pass from Conklin to Mike Mitchell. Mitchell lined up kind of in a slot position about 10 feet off the line of scrimmage. And he just ran a fly pattern right down the field and ran right by the PV defensive backs.
Yeah, they just ran some verticals at him, and when you play cover two, you got to really work hard on your reroutes and don't let receivers. And PV's got to understand that wherever Mitchell lines up, he's a threat, and they're going to have to identify that at halftime and make that adjustment.
14-9, the score. Pleasant Valley leads. We got 2:20 to go here in the first half. Kicking off will be Matt Brumfield. So Matt Finley's extra point is no good on the play. So the Knights miss out on a point. 14-9 the score. Brumfield tees it up at the 40, almost in the middle of the field. And his kick is going to be high, and it's going to be taken by Greenwood near the 3-yard line. Greenwood up the middle looking for a hole. Got a hole, got a crease. Breaks a tackle, breaks 2 tackles as he crosses the 30 to the 35-yard line. And wow, Pleasant Valley's return team has just been excellent the last couple of weeks, John.
Well, Assumption kickoff team, Pete, they are widening their lanes too wide, and you've got to be able on a kickoff. You try and avoid the first one, then you got to take on the second block, and they're trying to avoid the second block, and that's creating some huge holes there. And I'll tell you what, Greenwood is a very, very good football player.
Brent Greenwood lines up at quarterback. Ziegler goes in motion, and they'll run the option. Greenwood will pitch to Ziegler. Ziegler's going to be strung out, and he's going to lose a couple of yards on the play.
Well, that was a nice job by the Assumption defense, and you know Assumption has defended the option pretty well all year. It looked like Keegan Brennan again stringing that play out and making a nice play for the Knights.
It'll be 2nd down and 11 for Pleasant Valley. Ziegler will head the huddle. We'll see where he comes out when they break huddle. 1:40 to play in the first half. Pleasant Valley 14, Assumption 9. John, great halftime coming up.
Yeah, we really do. We'll have the all-MAC legitimate tough guy team, and you know we're going to put some kids on it, and I had a little bit of fun putting it together, Pete.
2nd down and 11 for the Spartans. Ziegler will keep it himself on the quarterback keeper over left tackle, and he's going to break free, and we'll have a nice gain of about 4 yards. It'll be 3rd down for Pleasant Valley, and I believe Assumption will take their 2nd timeout. Bill. Around 7 o'clock. Me and Dan McGuire will bring you Alleman's Class 5A opening round game as the Pioneers host Holy Cross of River Grove from Augie's Erickson Field. On 3rd down with $1:17 to play in the half, Greenwood goes in motion. Ziegler back to pass. Kubik open, and he's going to be overthrown near the 30-yard line. Would have been a big gainer for Pleasant Valley on 3rd down. Instead, it'll go to 4th down and 6, and Pleasant Valley will be forced to punt it. Mark Klein will check into the ball game to put his right foot into the ball. He'll be punting from PV zone 28-29 yard line. Back deep, Mitchell and Dan Adams for the Knights. They will stand at their own 25-yard line. I would move up a lot closer because the wind is right in Klein's face. Klein gets it up in the air, and it just dies. It'll take a bounce. It'll take a PV or a Assumption bounce, as it'll die dead right at the Assumption 46-yard line.
You know, the Assumption coaches up in their booth are getting a little excited, and they should, because you know that ball was towed straight up in the air plus the wind, and the return guy Michael Mitchell continued to chase it downfield, Pete,
right
into a crowd. And you've got to, you know, a lot of teams use the word poison, get away from it or whatever, but you know, the right call was made, and they were just a little bit concerned on that. Now, you know, the thing that hurt PV a little bit too is they stopped the clock themselves with that incomplete pass, so Assumption did not have to use one of their timeouts.
On first down, they'll go 2 tight ends. Mitchell, the lone running back. They'll bring Brumfield in, motion down the line of scrimmage. Who's in at quarterback? It's Conklin. Conklin drops back to pass, flushed out of the pocket. He's going to run for it. Can't break out of the grip of Jason Bowling. And Bowling will tackle Conklin inbounds. Clock will continue to run.
The Assumption receivers did a poor job that time, Pete. Every time you get in a scramble situation, you should have guys breaking deep down the field, to see if the PV secondary gets in front or come back hard for the ball. They did neither. When you got a scrambling quarterback like Conklin, you need to work on that because you can get some big plays sneaking a receiver deep behind him off the scramble.
Timeout was taken on the play. We will delve into his bag of tricks. And I think we can give him credit on that third down play after Ehrman was taken off the field going long for 75 yards to Mike Mitchell. We'll see if they come up here on 2nd down and 7 from the 50 with 45 seconds remaining. Conklin will roll out, looking for the throwback, and pass goes incomplete and intended for Joe Hoeksma. And Hoeksma,
he just quit on that route,
Yeah.
Pete. That ball's catchable, and it looked like he didn't want to get hit, and he pulled off it. And you could tell the Assumption coaching staff was really upset with his effort on that play.
Yep, as Jerry Teal will look over, and I'm going to guess those aren't pleasantries.
No, they aren't, and
No.
you got to go get the ball. That's what receivers are supposed to do, and he didn't do it on that play.
Another 3 receiver set, this time to the wide side of the field. 38 seconds to play in the half. Conklin will roll out that way. He's going to cross the line of scrimmage. He'll run with it across the 40 to the 35-yard line, and he's going to have to, the clock will stop. They'll move the chains, 29 seconds to play, and Assumption will be forced to spike the football. As the ball is spotted, Assumption sets up in their formation. Referees will blow the clock in play. Conklin will take the snap and will spike it on the ground. We've got 25 seconds to play, so they only lose 4 seconds.
Again, now you got a left-handed quarterback, so the ball's on the right hash mark. If they may go with their sprint out game to the wide side of the field again to give Conklin a runner pass option, Pete.
It'll be 2nd down and 10. Ball at the 39-yard line, actually 34-yard line of Pleasant Valley. 3 receiver set, twins to one side, a single receiver to the near side. Conklin, straight drop back, looks downfield. It's on the corner. It's going to be caught. Flags on the play. Receiver down inside the 5-yard line. And
that was a great catch.
That was a great catch.
Could have been Brumfield, maybe, number 10.
Yeah, I think it was. Matt Brumfield on the reception, just runs a pattern up the sideline. The referees are talking about the flag, and I believe it's going to be pass interference. And, man, if Assumption can punch this one in with 18 seconds left, they'll take the lead, but they'll have all the momentum, too.
Well, we'll see what they
Pass
run.
interference is the call.
We'll see what they run here. I don't know if they have any timeouts left, Pete, so.
1st and goal from the, this is right near the 1-yard line. They'll decline the pass interference penalty. It'll be 1st and goal. They don't have any timeouts, I believe. And they've got an overloaded line to the left side.
That's the direction they should run because Pleasant Valley's defense seems like they're loaded opposite of it.
Quarterback sneak. Conklin does not
even get close.
They're going to have to get up and spike the ball with 10 seconds left.
That's not a great call
spot
there.
the ball as quick as they can. 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Conklin spikes it. And the clock hits 0. We have a flag. And this series, I think, may end on the 1-yard line. The flag, I think, is going to be against Assumption for a lineman moving early. False start against the offense, and if they don't put any more time back on the
first
clock.
of all, Pete, I will say this: that clock shouldn't have ran out. Right, and that is a correct call, and we'll see how they go. That's a good job by the officials. even when he went to spike it, Pete, the clock shouldn't have ran out. There was 1 second left there. On the quarterback sneak, kind of a questionable call down there when you got a guy like Mitchell in your backfield, and plus when you don't have timeouts, Pete. And that's the thing. If I'm Assumption right now, I'm going to get something out of this. I'm going to kick a field goal and go from there, because that was a big big turn of events right there. Great job by the Pleasant Valley defense. They just dominated the inside guys for Assumption.
Pleasant Valley takes a timeout, but Bill, Assumption came out of the huddle with a twin receiver set. Is that correct, Bill?
Do that. Try to gun it. Still like Green. Get it in there if he runs it.
Well, the explanation I'll give you is the clock shouldn't have ran out, because when Conklin went to spike the ball, there was 3 seconds left on the clock, and Pete was counting it down right with it, and that was a fast clock by the home team up here, Pleasant Valley Spartan clock keeper, Pete.
Wow. And we still got another half of football to play, too. With 1 second left, Assumption lost yardage on the quarterback sneak, lost a lot of yardage. They're going to, well, it was
and
a
they're going to go for it, too. Right.
So they lose 5 yards. It's going to be second and goal from the 6, but we got 1 second left. They will go for it. They'll go. Conklin sprints out to the wide side, looks in the field. He's going to have to tuck it under. He will not make it. He's going to be taken down at the 2. No flags on the play, and why don't you kick it?
Well, Pete, there's 2 things right there. Number one, you do line up and kick it because you had a good defensive stop by PV. And number 3, you can't get sacked. You got to throw the ball in that situation. That's a poor decision that time by the Assumption quarterback. He has runner pass option. Pete, you got to try and take a shot to somebody in the end zone. And if you looked in the end zone, Bentler was open and that. And, Joe's only a junior, and he showed a little bit of inexperience on that play.
Now the teams will go back to their respective locker rooms. Pleasant Valley just dodged a huge bullet, and Assumption, with all that momentum, they kind of just lost it.
Well, there was a couple. Once again, quarterback sneak down in there. I know you only have a yard to go, but Pleasant Valley defensive line is tough. My feelings is you get the ball in Mitchell's hands down there. He's your best ball carrier. And then number 2, why not kick the field goal? You just had the penalty. You got a great field goal kicker. And Finley, it cuts the score to 14-12 if he makes it, which he has all year. So, oh well, Pete, that's why coaches make these decisions.
All right, thanks, Bill. Did a great job in the first half. Why don't you head to the concessions and be a pal and bring John and I up some hot chocolate. Let's pause and take a timeout, our first of the half, and then we'll come back. And John's been thinking about it all week. He's been talking with coaches. He's got kind of his own version of a MAC all-conference team. So let's pause, take a timeout. We'll come back with John's all-conference selections. Our halftime score is Pleasant Valley 14, Assumption 9.
Quarterback
here on WOC Talk Radio 1420.
Times on those type of hits, Pete, those guys are hit, hard suddenly. And if he did get knocked out, you notice he did come to a little bit, but he was probably out for, 30 seconds to a minute, and they have to definitely make sure that's all that is.
Assumption will kick off. The kick is a high, deep kick. Greenwood will take it at the 1-yard line. He'll switch to the middle of the field, cut it back, penalty flags on the play. I think we're going to have a blocking behind the back from Paddock on Mitchell. This one is going to go against the Spartans, I believe, John.
Yeah, that time what they did, Pete, is they adjusted Mitchell to the outside contained guy, and his speed was just too much for Paddock to handle that time, and he got him in the back, so that's a big break for the Knights. It's going to march Pleasant Valley back deep. In the first half, we kind of wondered who was going to be able to step up because of Justin Thompson and Mulvania being out. But you obviously, with Brett Greenwood, number 8, the sophomore, had a big first half, and also Kevin Lynn, with his power running, caused the Assumption defense a lot of problems.
Penalty moved Pleasant Valley back all the way to their 8-yard line. It'll be first down and 10. Ziegler will be under center. And he'll fumble on the play, ball on the ground. And we'll see who the referees. And actually, the Spartans will regain possession. Ball carrier. Thank you, Bill. Assumption's Brett Greenwood fumbled the ball but got it back. It'll be second down and 5 from the 14 for the Spartans. Double wing set formation, Lynn in motion. Greenwood on the counter play. And nice job by Ted Bentler eyeing the play and running down the line of scrimmage. He'll make the play after a short game from Greenwood.
Well, that's what middle linebackers are supposed to do. And, you know, Bentler, like I said earlier, is probably more comfortable in a three-point stance, but he read that play, and that was a big-time hit. That's twice he's read that play extremely well and laid the lumber to Greenwood.
On third down and 4 from the 15 for Pleasant Valley. They will go with the double wing set. 2 tight end formation. Lynn will take it on the quick pitch. He's going to cut it up. Bentler will meet him, and I think Bentler might have stopped him from the first down marker. We'll see who the referees spot the football, and he's going to be short. Ted Bentler comes up with 2 big plays.
Yeah, he really did. And if anybody questions whether that guy can play football, just watch those last 2 plays. Those were chest-to-chest tackles, wrapped him up, and drove him backwards. He showed excellent leg strength, but Assumption defensive line looked like big number 79 again for Assumption. Pete had good penetration, and you know, that's Tony Judge, 6'4", 290.
Mark Klein punting from his 2-yard line, accepts a good snap. Klein's punt's a low spiral, really nice kick. Will push Assumption's receiver all the way back to the 45-yard line, and he will be tripped up near the 50-yard line. A nice return from number 21, Dan Adams.
I wasn't sure for sure where Dan knew he was going, though, Pete. They got the initial block, and he just couldn't get his feet underneath him to get back to the wall, because Assumption did have a wall set up towards the Pleasant Valley boundary. But that was a good punt for PV, because that was into the wind, and you know, Assumption does start with good field position, but a very good punt for Pleasant Valley.
Assumption will start from the 50-yard line. Nelson Brunfield in motion down the line of scrimmage. Mitchell will take it on the toss sweep over left tackle. He's going to break a tackle. Can't break a second as he crosses into Pleasant Valley territory, brought down right at the 44-yard line. It'll be second down for the Knights.
Well, it's just a toss sweep. Good first down play for Assumption. Anytime you can get, you know, more than 4 yards on your first down play, you're going in the right direction.
9:30 to play in the third quarter. Our score: Pleasant Valley 14, Assumption 9. That was the halftime score. Second down and 4 from the 43. Knights on the move. Toss sweep goes to Mitchell. The other way, Mitchell tries to cut it up, but he slips. Gains 2 yards on the play. It's going to be third down and short for the Knights.
You know, a lot of times Assumptions, you know, always looks like they're about 1 block away. And in that time, because they got beat early at their point of attack, Mitchell tried to cut it back in, and he slipped and tripped.
Third down and 3 from the 43. 8:50 to play in the third quarter. Pleasant Valley 14, Assumption 9. 3 receiver set. Mitchell splits out into a slot alongside of Brunfield. Fennelly splits out to the other side as quarterback under pressure. Where's the football? He fumbles the football, but Pleasant Valley or Assumption gets it back. Looks like Butler falls on it, and Assumption's gonna lose about 10 yards on the play. It's gonna be fourth down and long. Brantner will have to come in to punt it away for the Knights.
You know, Pete, you're on the other side of it's your first series, and you get good field position. You get it to third and, 2, maybe 3, and basically it was a 4 vertical routes, which is still a high percentage, route to complete, and technically you're close to being in 4 down territory, so you got to question that call a little bit there.
Brantner angles the punt And it rolls out of bounds nicely at about the 13-yard line. Very nice punt from Mr. Brand.
Yeah, Brandner's been punting the ball like this all year, Pete. And if he wasn't a junior, he probably would have been on that team too, because he has done a super job. And field position wins you football games, and his punt again, numerous times this year, he's put the other team inside the 20-yard line.
1st and 10 for the Spartans, their second possession of the third quarter. We've got 7:50 to play in the third. Our score, Pleasant Valley 14, Assumption 9, and this could be one of those tight football games to the end here, John. Double wing set formation with the receiver split out. Ziegler under center. They'll start Greenwood in motion. He'll get the pitch over right end. Penalty flag on the play. Greenwood, about a 5 or 6 yard gain. This one might be coming back.
Usually when you get a play like that thrown at the point of attack, it's going to be usually holding against the offense, Pete. And especially on sweep plays, you try and hook that defensive end. Sometimes you hook them a little bit too good. It looks like it's definitely going to be a holding call against Pleasant Valley.
So that'll take the Spartans back a ways. It'll be...
That's a big penalty.
Replay the down.
Wow. Ball's on the 7.
Ball will go back to the 7-yard line for the Spartans. It'll be first down and 16 or 17. Clock moving, 7:30 to play in the third. 14-9 the score. Pleasant Valley on top of Assumption. I formation in the backfield, 2 receivers set. They'll go with the tailback up the middle. Nothing. I'm going to think that was Greenwood.
You know, right now Ted Bentler is he's getting after it now, Pete. And I think he probably thinks, hey, this is the last. If we don't get the lead here and win, this is going to be the last half he plays this year. So he's really been firing up the Assumption defense.
Second down and 15. They're going to mark the ball at the 8-yard line. Under 7 minutes to play in the third quarter. This time they'll go back to the wing set formation, split backs in the backfield. Counter crisscross. Greenwood with some running room, breaks one tackle, flips it, and penalty flags on the play. They were running the option off the crisscross, but the pitch was forward, a forward lateral. So this one will, I guess they would mark that at the point of the pitch and then take it back.
Yeah, they probably will, Pete. And, you know, right there, boy, Greenwood's a good player. He's really doing a nice job. You know, he made a bad decision there of pitching the ball because he already had a nice run. You know, for Assumption, when you got a team backed up like that, you can't let them out of this. And this is a big part of the game right here now.
As the referees will mark it off.
Hey, they got first down listed.
That voice is Mike Fox. You might be able to hear in the box next to us, the always intense assistant coach for the Knights. Third down and 8 from the 16 for the Spartans. They'll line up in their double wing set formation with the receiver split out. They'll go with the quick pitch to Mike Martinez. Martinez, not a whole lot of carries tonight, and this one's only going to come up with a couple of yards over left end. So the Spartans will have to put it away into that brisk wind.
You know, again, Keegan Brennan does a real nice job of playing his defensive end position. He did a good job of stretching that play out, allowing the other Assumption defenders to come inside to make the tackle.
Mark Klein will be punting from around the 5-yard line. Mitchell alone back deep at the 50-yard line. And again, this is into a really sharp wind. Snaps a little high. Klein does a great job getting it off, but it goes off the side of his foot and takes an Assumption bounce. The Knights are going to have the ball in excellent field position, and definitely not Mark Klein's fault. He was under a lot of pressure. He got the ball off in a hurry. Sometimes that happens.
You know, Pete, you look at a couple of things that's happened this game. Assumption had that early drive where they got in deep of the Pleasant Valley territory and had to kick a field goal. And then Pleasant Valley got in deep on Assumption on the kickoff return, got a score. Second half here, well, right before half, Assumption doesn't score from the 1, and then they get the ball at the 50 on their first drive and end up punting the ball. So they got even better field position this time.
1st and 10 from the 33 for the Knights. Conklin fumbles the snap, but gets it back, and they'll make it back to the original line of scrimmage. So we really haven't seen much of John Powers since that first or second quarter.
No, we really haven't, Pete, and they've been trading him off a little bit off and on. Well, I don't know. I think, in this situation here, Assumption's offense, continues to, stumble around a little bit.
2nd down and 10. Hoeksma in motion down the line of scrimmage. Mitchell on the toss sweep will pick up a block from Powers or Conklin, and Mitchell is going to be tackled awkwardly backwards. And he'll get up favoring his right ankle a little bit, and he'll walk it off. Officials timeout on the play as Bowling looks like he's got some blood or something on his elbow, and oh boy, he's going to have to come off for a play, and trainer Amy Labarge will look at him, get him ready to go back into the game. It'll be 3rd down and 11, so Pleasant Valley will be without Jason Bowling for this big 3rd down play as Mitchell goes in motion. As Conklin will roll out that way, he's got Mitchell wide open in the flat. He'll hit him at the 30-yard line. Mitchell puts a move on one guy, and he's still on his feet. 1st down as he approaches the 20-yard line. Excellent individual effort by the super sophomore, Michael Mitchell.
Michael Mitchell in open space is very tough to tackle, Pete. He has very fast feet. He's a conference 100-meter champ, and you saw why there. And that was a good play call there to get Mitchell one-on-one. And it's tough for one guy to bring down. Super job for Assumption.
Jason Bowling checks back into the lineup for the Spartans. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Knights. Clock running, 4:30 to play in the 3rd quarter. Spartans 14, Knights 9. Ball at the 17-yard line. 1st and 10. Conklin will hand it off to Mitchell up the middle. Mitchell, short gain, 1 or 2 yards on the play.
Assumption right now, from a running game standpoint, are having difficulty against that very strong Pleasant Valley defensive front. And Pleasant Valley guys, they keep showing up. Kevin Lynn at linebacker is doing a great job. Sean Paddock, number 50, big-time hitter in there for him. And, they just keep coming at you. So
2nd down and 9 from the 16. Referees will blow this play dead with a flag on the ground, and I'm going to bet somebody lined up in the neutral zone. That was done by a flag thrown by a linesman, and it's going to go against Assumption, and they're going to move themselves back 5 yards. How many times have we seen Assumption this year inside of the opponent's 30-yard line get a 5-yard penalty for lining up off sides or moving off sides?
It happens, Pete, and that's where your offense has got to be, disciplined. They got to know what they're doing, and they've, at times, again, tonight, they seem confused.
This is what cost them against Muscatine, week number 2, way back in September. They'd get inside to 30, and they'd go backwards, and they'd have to settle for field goals. And they end up losing by 8. As, again, flags on the play, and I think it's going to be the same call. Was it the wide out, Bill? Offsides called, lining up in the neutral zone against Assumption as Wade King is furious on the sidelines. So they were at 2nd down and 9 from the 16-yard line. Now it's 2nd down and 19 from the 26. You can't do that. Second down and 19 from the 26. 2 receivers set. Conklin will roll out to the wide side of the field. He'll set his feet up, and he goes for Bentler. Bentler hit before he caught the ball by Paddock, and the ball goes incomplete. Bentler got nailed on the play. He gets up easily. No flags on the play.
Now that's a poor call, Pete. That's
too.
about as poor as it gets. He was knocked to the ground before the ball even got to him, and obviously the officials were watching more outside receivers instead of inside because that was definitely pass interference.
Yeah, probably should be a 1st down for the Knights. But but instead it'll be 3rd down and 19 from the 26. Conklin rolls out again. He's got trips to one side. He reverses his field. Penalty flags on the play. Conklin will tuck it under. He's got a lot of running room inside the 15-yard line, but this one's going to be a holding call against the Knights.
They're going to be backed any farther because if it's from the spot, Pete, and Pleasant Valley is definitely going to take this penalty. And you know, here's a couple of things that all goes back. The first half, you know, you don't score from the one, and then you have a shot to kick a field goal. You don't kick it, and even on this drive here, if you'd end up with the field goal, you're in the lead. So there's a lot of things that Assumption's offensive situation has not been real strong at tonight.
And maybe I'm being too critical at this point, but you hate, in a game this magnitude for a playoff spot on the line, you hate to have it come down to bad coaching decisions. I mean, you want the players to play it out on the field. And
well, I don't know so much coaching decisions either. You know, you got to get lined up right. You know, the coach isn't out there jumping off sides either. So
3rd down and 35 from the 42. Conklin drops back to pass, eludes being sacked. He's going to have to throw it up. Completed on the play to Bentler at the 25. He's going in the end zone. Touchdown Knights. A 42-yard touchdown reception for Ted Bentler.
You know what, Pete? They did everything wrong that series. Everything wrong, and it came out right because Joe Conklin makes that play all by himself. We talked here earlier about receivers working harder on their routes off the scramble play. Bentler did that time, Pete. He worked to get open after the scramble. Joe Conklin again, because those defensive linemen from PV were right in his face. He found a soft spot, and that was all Joe Conklin. Nice catch by Bentler, and Bentler runs it in. What?
Good.
There you go, Pete.
Good Lord.
You'd rather be, I don't know. That was ugly, and it worked.
Knights go for 2.
And we got another penalty, though.
Option pass completed to Hoeksma, but there's penalty flags on the play. Nonetheless, our score is 15-14, so the Knights definitely want to go for 2 to try and make it a 3-point lead.
Procedure again.
Called against the Knights.
A lot of penalties here.
Wow. Bill?
Could Butler go to center and Judge do Butler's thing?
boys!
What was the penalty?
As Assumption is now taking its time deciding what to do on the 2-point conversion play. The ball's going to be spotted back at the 8-yard line. They're going to still go for 2, it looks like, to make it a 3-point game. Score now 15-14 in favor of the Knights. The Knights regain the lead for the first time since the 3-minute mark of the first quarter.
Delay a game. It's going to be a delay a game.
And now the Knights are going to be flagged for delay a game, and that falls squarely on the shoulders of the coaching staff. And I hate to pick on them, but just too many mistakes in a big football game. And 2 things are wrong. Something like this happens, and then you have people lining up off sides. I mean, these are things that get taken care of the first couple weeks of the season.
Well, you would like to think, Pete, that, you know, in the 9th game of the season that, you know, all these kids are excited, and they are 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
So that happens sometimes.
Now from the 14-yard line, Conklin into the end zone, completed on the, no, Hoeksma had it in his hands.
That was a catch. That was Mitchell.
Actually, Mitchell.
All you have to do is have 1 foot down with the ball, and he did. And again, because the official is in poor position, I believe he makes the wrong call.
Oh, maybe Bill had a better eye on that one. Bill?
Will you wait? Please do me a favor.
3rd down and 35. Ted Bentler goes 42 yards for a touchdown reception. He was alone in the flat. He got a block about 10 yards down the field, and he was untouched. No one bothered to cover him on the play. As you can't help what's going through the mind of Rusty Van Wensinger right now.
Well, they're doing a lot of good things. This is a big drive for PV, though. They haven't done much here in the second half.
Brumfield sends this one deep into the end zone.
You know, Pete, as these kickers continue to get better and better in high school, you always keep thinking maybe they'll back it up to the college distance, because Brumfield And a lot of these kickers now in the MAC conference drives it every time into the end zone.
Yeah, you know what? And you don't see NFL guys do it on Sunday.
I know.
You really don't.
It's really weird.
I think the only one that does it consistently is Olindo Mare from Miami. He's got like 10 on the year, which really isn't a whole lot compared to how many kickoffs he does every game. On first down for the Spartans, they trail the Knights 15-14. We got 2:45 to play in the third quarter. As Mike Martinez, big hole over left guard. He'll be close to the first down marker. He's going to have a gain of about 8 yards on the play. It'll be second down and short for the Spartans.
That's a good first down play for Pleasant Valley. They needed to get something going, Pete. They were kind of struggling themselves a little bit with some key penalties. And if they just need, you know, what Ed Morrissey's thinking right here, he just needs what they call a Pleasant Valley drive. Just run the ball at the Assumption defense, eat time off the clock, execute the offense, and get a score.
Second down and 1, they'll say on the scoreboard from the 29-yard line. Tight formation, double wing set formation. Martinez the fullback. They'll start Greenwood in motion. Martinez on the trap play. Up the middle, fights for yardage, and he's going to gain a couple, but he had to go through about 7 or 8 Knight defenders to get it. Ted Bentler in on the tackle. Bill? Thank you, Bill Horrell, our sideline reporter tonight. I'm going to guess we're going to send Bill to the other playoff game Wednesday night. We'll see how things work out. That first-round playoff game you can hear over on Fox Sports Radio Wednesday night at 7. Greenwood on the pitch, coming to the short side of the field. The Knights do a good job stringing it out to the sidelines as Bentler and Butler and
Keegan Brennan again.
Keegan Brennan, yeah.
He does a pretty good job against that stretch and tosses at him. Strings it out and lets Bentler, who's playing that Mike linebacker position, gives him a chance to run underneath and make the hit.
I think Bentler might be playing his best game of the year right now, John.
Well, you can't save any of your best plays now, Pete.
Yeah. Second down and 7 from the 35. We've got 1:05 to play in the third quarter. Knights on top by 1 over the Spartans, 15-14. Kevin Lynn on the counter play, stood up near the line of scrimmage, falls forward for a gain of a couple of yards.
Again, you know, Pleasant Valley just pounding the ball. It's still not a bad play, even though it's a couple yards. Brings up 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. They need a first down here to keep their drive going.
3rd down and 4, awful big down for both teams. Assumption with a 1-point lead. We got 40 seconds to play. In the third quarter, Mark Klein will split out to the short side of the field. Greenwood and Lynn are the wing backs. Kubik to the right side of the formation at tight end. Martinez will take it over right tackle. And he's going to be held short. He's only going to pick up about a yard and a half. It's going to be 4th down and 2 for the Spartans. They will have to punt it away. And if you're Assumption, do you want to call timeout so he punts it
I would, but
into the wind, or are you just they're gonna let it out? So we'll take a timeout. Oh, yep, they'll take a timeout. So Klein will be punting with the wind when we come back for the fourth quarter of action. Assumption by 1, 15-14 over Pleasant Valley. At the end of 3, it's MAC football here on WOC Talk Radio 1420. Of course, the super sophomore Michael Mitchell will be standing at his 20-yard line. Klein's punt is a nice
That's a difference.
spiral punt, pushing back to the 15-yard line. Mitchell will pick up a block, pick up another block. He's trying to turn the corner. He stops, stutters, and he's going to be taken down at the 30-yard line. Thought he had something there for a second, but that's all right. The Knights will take over at their own 30-yard line. Again, the winner of this game will qualify for the Class 4A playoffs. They'll phone this score in from the press box to the state offices. And they have said that prior to midnight tonight, you can log on to the state's website at iahsaa.org, I believe is what it is. And you click on the football link, and they'll have the listings of the pairings later tonight around midnight. On first down, Brumfield in motion down the line of scrimmage. And broken play, and I don't think Mitchell went the right way as Conklin gets dragged down.
You know, Pete, right before then, I was just ready to say that it's fourth quarter. The team that executes the best is going to win the game, and Assumption starts their play with half their team going one way and the other half going the other way. Not real pretty
Yeah, and I got to think that with they had at least 3 guys pulling on the play, and Mitchell went the other way, and the quarterback went with the lineman. I got to think that might have been Mitchell's fault, but nonetheless, it'll be second down and 14 from the 26. We've got 11 minutes to play in the ball game. Assumption 15, Pleasant Valley 14. Conklin drops back to pass. A lot of running room up the middle, across to the 30. Breaks one tackle, can't break a second, down to the 33-yard line. But it's going to be third down and 7 or 8 for the Knights.
You know, Pleasant Valley does a good job of breaking themselves down to make tackles, Pete. A lot of times in high school you see guys leave their feet, which allow Conklin to get a little more yardage. But they're very well coached. They come to balance on their tackles. They wrap up. And even though Conklin got half of it back, he didn't get the big play out of it.
Third down and 7. Pleasant Valley faithful knows this is a big down for the defense. If they can somehow get a stop, they will have the wind at their backs in the fourth quarter. Conklin, nobody in the backfield. He'll turn, throw it to Mitchell. Mitchell works one way and dives for the first down marker. Do they give it to him?
They did.
Yes,
And he did get it.
First down.
Well, again, they're letting Mitchell do the things that he's good at, you know, beating guys open field. Kevin Lynn's a very good tackler for PV, and he just got outran that time by Mitchell, and Mitchell showed his speed, and that's a good adjustment for Assumption. Get the ball in the hands of guys that make plays.
First and 10, ball spotted on the far hash at the 40-yard line of the Knights. Assumption on the move. They'll go with the one receiver to the near side of the field. That is Matt Fennelly. High formation in the backfield as another flag as Jerry Teal a little upset, and another lining up in the neutral zone call is going to go against the Knights. And this is you know, junior high teams.
Yeah, it really is. You know,
this is getting pretty sad.
And it looks like it's always the same guy for Assumption, so you either got to correct it by substitution or he's got to get it corrected, because what they're saying, what Bill said was he starts out and then when he puts his hands down, he's offsides.
Mitchell in motion from his tailback spot. They'll give it to Bentler up the middle. A lot of running room across the 50.
Wow.
Applies a hard hit to the free safety, very close to the first down marker. I think he's going to have it. So from second and 15, well, we'll see where the referee. It's going to be close to the first down marker.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I don't know what got into Bentler tonight, but any criticisms about, you know, he does some things not full speed, but this is full speed tonight, and I'm telling you, he's been fun to watch so far.
I think he might have read the message boards on Luke Pedersen's site.
Yeah, you might have.
This afternoon, because they weren't kind to Mr. Bentler, and it's too bad because he is a good football player.
Yeah, it really is. PA. Let's thank Judy's Barber Stein, Cumberland Square Mall, Bettendorf, Luke Federson, and IraPreps.com, and Orthopedic and Rheumatology Associates, excellent in sports medicine, proud sponsors of MAC football.
First and 10. So Bentler does get the first down marker. They'll go with a double wing set formation. Mitchell in the backfield, the lone tailback. Conklin fumbles the football, and he's going to lose. Oh, he's going to lose about 5 yards on the play. He had it, and it just fell out of his hands.
You know, earlier, too, it looked like Conklin pulls out. He's pretty quick, and he pulls out a little quick, and he's not getting the ball. And they've had 2 or 3 exchanges where they're not clean. And you know, you probably should have just fell on the ball there. You got to be real careful. This is, you know, crunch time for both teams here.
Second down and 15. Clock running, under 9 minutes to play in the ball game. Assumption owns a 1-point lead, 15-14. They picked up a touchdown in the third quarter. And so far, that's been the edge. Bentler on a trap play, not much. Gains about a yard up the middle.
Same exact call, but now throw the ball to Mitch downfield.
As we'll have a third down and 13 for the Knights. 8.5 to play in the ball game. Players slow to get off the turf.
On every drive, you know, there are penalties for Assumption, whether it's delay a game or the offsides or the center quarterback exchange. They still haven't had that one drive besides the one play where they throw the bomb to Mitchell, where they've been real clean.
Here we go, 3 receiver set. Mitchell, Brumfield, and Fennelly lined up in the trips formation. Bentler lines up at tight end. He'll go out on the formation. Conklin under pressure. He's not going to get it away. He's going to be sacked on the play, a loss of about 7 yards. Great play. We'll give credit to David Kubik.
And Jason Bowling.
And number 66, guy we haven't named yet tonight, Steve Campion.
And Steve's played in there most of the night and played pretty well so far for the Spartans. That's a big stop that time. You know, Assumption has a good pass game, but when you're throwing from your back, you don't complete very many.
Big stop for the Spartans. The punt is very high. The wind catches it, and this is going to amount to about a 20-some yard punt. Actually, a 30-yard punt on the roll. They're going to have it down to the 30-yard line, so Pleasant Valley will take over a new set of downs with 7:22 to play in the football game. 15-14, Assumption leads. It was 14-9 at the half, and on a 3rd and 35, Ted Bentler caught a 42-yard touchdown reception. I still can't believe I saw that. That was with 2:45 to play in the 3rd quarter, and the Knights did not. They went for 2, didn't get it. They had a couple of penalties, pushed them back. 14-15 is the score. Assumption leads. Ziegler drops back to pass. Got 3 receivers out, and open. Kevin Lynn down the field off his fingers. Couldn't quite come up with it as Brumfield deflects it away, even though Lynn had his paws on it.
Brumfield got lucky there, Pete. He got ran by off the play-action fake. Lynn's open, and Brumfield has his hands turned the wrong way, because if he has a good zone turn, gets his hands properly positioned, he has a chance to pick it. Then it went through his hands, and it hit, you know, kind of hit Lynn's hands, and Lynn dropped. And it wasn't really a drop, but it would have been a tough catch. But you know, Brumfield got fooled on that play a little bit.
2nd down and 10 for the Spartans. They used the wind on the first down play. I think it's a good call. Greenfield on the sweep over left end. He's going to have a short gain of 2 or 3 yards. It'll be 3rd down and long for the Spartans. Clock running. 7 minutes to play in the football game. Assumption 15, Pleasant Valley 14. I didn't think it was going to be this close, John.
Well, I thought it'd be this close. You know, with Justin Thompson being out, Mulvania, you know, Pleasant Valley's had to make some changes. And also, you got to remember, Assumption does have the good punting game, good kicking game that forces the teams to go 70 and 80 yards on them. And this really, this is really getting to be a very hard-hitting, intense showdown here, coming down the last few minutes of the game here.
Offset or split backs formation as Ziegler stumbles coming out of the center exchange, whips it downfield, caught by Kubik at the 45 for a 1st down. Spartans on 3rd and 7. Kubik gets the first down at the 45-yard line. Drive stays alive for the Spartans.
Great play that time from Pleasant Valley, and Ziegler did a good job. He got almost knocked down to the turf. Assumption lost contain off the boot. And, you know, if you contain that one, you'll probably get the sack. They didn't contain it. Ziegler gets outside, finds Kubik. Great throw and catch for a Spartan 1st down.
Might have just kept the season alive for the Spartans.
Definitely did.
10, 6 minutes to play in the ball game. They do not have to give it up. At the 45, Greenwood running the option at quarterback, breaks free across the 50 to the 45, fumbles the football at the end. Will the refs rule him down? Yes, they do.
I couldn't tell from here or not, Pete. The ball came out, and you'd have to be on the sideline to see that one.
Bill, it's got to be getting pretty intense down there.
Well, they either need a field goal or a touchdown to win the game.
1st down and 10 from the 43, 5:30 to play in the football game. Assumption by 1, 15-14. Spartans on the move in Pleasant Valley territory. Ziegler drops back to pass into flat, almost picked off on the play, not quite. Nice effort from Mike Craddock. Pass intended for Kevin Lynn, as Craddock read it the whole way and stepped in front at the last second, but I think Lynn got his hand in front and knocked it away. Would have been an interception. Wouldn't have been a return on the play. He would have been down on the ground, but would have been a big turnover for the Knights.
Yeah, Craddock has good speed. He matches up well with Lynn, and they're both very good football players. And Craddock just had a good angle at time and almost got the pick for the Knights. 2nd
down and 10 from the 43, 5:24 to play in the ball game. Knights by 1. Greenwood on the options. Got Ziegler. He will keep it himself. A lot of running room across the 35 to the 30-yard line. And 1st down for the Spartans as Assumption didn't bother tackling him on that play.
Well, they don't have
by about 5 guys.
They're bringing Greenwood in at quarterback to run that option, and Ziegler ends up being the pitchback, Pete. And Greenwood 2 times in a row are getting big gains, and they're really blocking. Assumption's defense does not have the adjustment right now to this option play.
5 minutes to play in the ball game. Assumption 15, Pleasant Valley 14. The night defense looking a little weary.
Coming to you, bench.
Double wing set formation.
Here comes that
Greenwood
option
is still
again.
the quarterback. Referees blow this play dead. The linesman says
Yeah, they are. They're doing what
that
they were going to do with Thompson. With
the
number
call
8.
will go against Pleasant Valley. Offsides against the Spartans. That'll move him back 5 yards. Greenwood was under center. He's the option running quarterback for Pleasant Valley. He's done a marvelous job. He's probably taken 6 or 7 snaps tonight.
I'll tell you when
You know, one thing that you see why the option still is a good play in any kind of football, especially at high school, you know, the free safeties in high school aren't real good lane fillers all the time, Pete. You don't see them come inside out on quarterback, and they're mainly back there because they're speed and don't get beat deep, and there's nobody to fill it out.
Greenwood again under center. They'll run the option. No, they'll
Give
give
it
it
to
to
fullback.
Mike Martinez. Martinez lumbers his way down the field inside the 25-yard line as
Well, right now, Pleasant Valley's found a series that's working for them. It's their belly option series. They either give it to the fullback or come outside and carry it. And Assumption's defense got to come up with a stop.
on 2nd down and 5 from the 22 clock running. We got 4:10 to play in the ball game. Assumption 15, Pleasant Valley 14. Winner moves on to the Class 4A playoffs Wednesday night. Greenwood again on the option. A lot of running room. Crosses inside of the 15-yard line. He'll have a first down for the Spartans. Wow.
They've got a scheme going now, and they're base blocking guys and letting the fullback lead up in there. They're getting to Bentler. They're getting 2 bodies on Bentler now with the fullback fake, and he's lost it. The other nights are going to have to come up, and they're stringing out, the defensive ends. Just a good scheme right now by Pleasant Valley.
1st and 10 for the Spartans. Well within field goal range for Ryan Morales. 1st and 10 from the 15. 3:45 to play in the football game. Assumption by 1, 15-14. Ziegler, kind of a broken play at the line, but he goes ahead and gets 3 or 4 yards as he goes up the middle. Were they running a pop pass on the play? That looked like an awful quick fake.
I don't know, but they ran right into each other. And but for Assumption, you can't let the kid fall forward for 3 or 4 yards after running to his own guy.
Right. For Pleasant Valley, that turns into a positive play. They have the clock running. They're well within field goal range.
Yeah, they're in field goal range. And
at the 10-yard line. Greenwood at quarterback. We'll see if they run the option. Ziegler lines up to the left side of the formation at the wing. They'll start him in motion to the right. Martinez will get the carry inside to the 5-yard line, and he's going to be close to the first down marker. We'll see where they mark it. Clock running, 2:50 to play in the football game, and it's going to be 3rd down and short.
48 seconds.
And it's going to be 3rd down in inches as Pleasant Valley will break them out of the huddle, as Greenwood will report back to the quarterback position. Ziegler back to left wing back. Martinez the fullback. On the option, Greenwood will keep it inside of the 5 to the end zone. Touchdown, Spartans! A 5-yard touchdown run by Brett Greenwood. That comes at the 2:23 mark of the football game.
Now, when I talked to Coach Morrissey, Pete, he said, this Greenwood kid, he's going to have to be more of our offense. I'm going to have to do more things. But he didn't tell me he was going to line him up at quarterback and run this option series. And I don't think Assumption has seen this, and it's been a big factor.
Let's take a timeout because the Spartans are going to take a timeout before the 2-point conversion play. 20-15 to score. Pleasant Valley on top. It's MAC football here on WOC Talk Radio 1420. On the 2-point conversion, Greenwood rolls out and looking for the end zone. He's got the corner. He'll get the 2 points for Pleasant Valley. That'll increase the lead to 22-15.
Boy, this Greenwood kid, he's a player, Pete, and You know, they lose Justin Thompson, their big player, the guy that does a lot for them, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Brent Greenwood, a sophomore, 6'1", 164 pounds. He's doing a lot of things for the Spartans tonight. Huge play there. And now Assumption has to have an answer with their 2-minute offense.
Bill. .223 remaining in the football game. Pleasant Valley regains the lead 22-15. Winner moves on to the Class 4A playoffs. They will play Wednesday night. It'll be determined later tonight. One of these teams will either go to Muscatine or Bettendorf. We know that for sure. Morales kicks it about 6 yards deep to Mitchell in the end zone as 80 yards or bust for the Assumption Knights, but you got 223 to work with. You've got the offense that can do it. They've done it tonight. You've got the skills player in Mitchell. If I'm Pleasant Valley, where is Mitchell lining up? Is he at slot or receiver? And make sure you got a couple guys out there.
Well, the matchup right now, Pete, is going to be the Pleasant Valley defensive line that can be very dominating at times against the Assumption offensive line, because if they don't have time to throw, they're not going to be very effective.
Oh boy, Assumption's got to take a timeout on the first down. Let's take a 1-minute break. PV 22, Assumption 15. It's MAC football here on WOC Talk Radio 1420. The week, game number 9. Assumption and Pleasant Valley. Assumption has the ball, trailing 22-15 with 2:23 to play in the fourth quarter. Winner of this game moves to Wednesday night's first round playoff game, either at Bettendorf or at Muscatine. 4 receivers set. Conklin rolls out. And the penalty flag's on the play. It'll go right through the hands of Matt Fennelly. And it's the same referee is calling, is throwing the flags. And I would assume it's going to be some sort of offsides or lining up improperly by the Knights. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Bill. That's Bill Horrell. Offsides is called, is what the referee motions against the Knights. That'll move them back 5 yards. They'll get the play back, though, I think.
Yeah, you get the play back, Pete, but you take a timeout. You don't really want to come out with a procedure penalty to start your series with.
Yeah, you take a timeout, lining up on first down, then you come out and you get a 5-yard penalty. Again, a 4-receiver set. Nobody in the backfield. Conklin, 3-step drop over the middle. Caught. Caught by 34 is Andy Franson. I thought it was almost intercepted on the play.
I don't even know how he caught that.
Yeah.
That was a good play by the...
Right over the middle.
Right. You know, sometimes you got to learn as defenders, too. Instead of going for the pick, try and knock the ball down. I think the PV guy went for the pick, and it went right through his arms.
Second and short, another spread formation, 4-receiver set. Conklin fumbles. Conklin fumbles the ball. Pleasant Valley on it. Pleasant Valley recovers, and the Spartans sideline erupts in happiness.
Well, you know, Wayland and Bowling causes problems all the time, and, you know, the center quarterback exchange still the most important play in football, and they weren't getting it clean all night, and it just backfired on them, Pete.
And Assumption, I think they only got 1 timeout.
Right.
As now they're mixed up getting defensive guys onto the field. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Spartans, a $146 to play in the ball game. They lead 22-15. A fumble on a quarterback exchange. Joe Conklin cannot grab the football. It goes to Pleasant Valley. They'll go with the old wing T set formation in the backfield. Ziegler will hand it off to Martinez. A lot of running room as Martinez is hit hard by Brumfield, it looks like, but Martinez, a lot of yards on first down, not what the Knights needed. And this one, all they need is a first down. This one's over, but the Knights...
They don't even need a first down.
No,
Pete, a minute 20 left. They can start taking these here if they want to. So, you know, right, the whole, you know, really this game has came down to the sloppiness of the Assumption offense. A lot of penalties. You know, not continuity when they get inside the 30-yard line, kept backing themselves up. And, you know, when they watch the film they're going to shake their head.
delay a game, that'll stop the clock. Not what Pleasant Valley needed. That won't make Ed Morrissey very happy. Again, Ed in his 25th year of coaching here at Pleasant Valley. Has a state title under his belt, numerous trips to the playoffs. But the last couple of years, 3 years ago they were 2-7. Last year, 7-3. They were losers in the first round of the playoffs to Bettendorf. This year it looks like they're headed for another 7-2 record. And he's just quietly the best coach.
You know, Assumption was stopping them, and all of a sudden they put, you know, the Greenwood kid at quarterback, and they found that belly option series that was very good for him, and pretty much won the game with it.
Martinez up the middle on the dive. As Assumption, actually the referees will stop the clock. They're going to measure this one very close to the first down marker with 52 seconds to play in the ball game, as we see some people starting to head for the parking lot.
Well, Pete, there was a lot of things that happened tonight, and you know, right before half, Assumption had the ball 1st and goal from the 1, and with only 8 seconds left, I believe, wasn't it, Pete, or something like that? And instead of maybe throwing one in the end zone or that, they tried a quarterback sneak, got stuffed. They did get the clock stopped with 6 seconds, or at the 6-yard line after the penalty. And, you know, they don't go for the field goal, get the score. And also another big play right here was when they didn't punt, didn't stop the clock, when they let PV punt with the win instead of into the win.
At the end of the third quarter.
And they lost a lot of field possession off that.
As we see the Muscatine coaches exiting the stage, the bleachers down the middle, the offensive coordinator, whose name I'm forgetting. They win last night over West to complete an 8-0 season, or 8-1 season for the Muskies.
Well, this was a good football game, Pete. And both teams, both kids in the blue uniforms and the white uniforms, you know, worked their tails off. And, you know, the kids have to make plays and execute. And, you know, you just don't want to see teams lose because of, you know, mistakes that they continue to make. But
as Assumption takes a timeout to stop the clock, and with 44 seconds to play. If you're Pleasant Valley, you didn't have to be in that position if you don't give up those 2 big plays for touchdowns to the Knights. 3rd and short, tight formation. Ziegler will keep it himself. A quarterback sneak, 1st down for Pleasant Valley. That is going to do it. This game is going to end in Pleasant Valley's favor, 22-15, unless well, they don't have to snap it again, do they?
No.
41 ticks left on the clock. The officials will
have to take a knee.
They're going to have to take a knee, but they'll start the clock. Ziegler and the Spartans will move to a victory formation. They will live for another 5 days to Wednesday night. They will be on the road to face Bettendorf or Muscatine. And boy, if you have to, which one do you want to play?
Well, you know, Pleasant Valley played pretty well here tonight. And both of them are going to be tough, but I think if you're PV, you'd rather play Bettendorf because I think their defense matches up against Bettendorf's offense, and their running game is pretty strong. They're not a passing team. They aren't going to give up the quarterback sack. So I think PV, be honest with you, probably rather see Bettendorf again.
And if that would happen, then that would mean if Dubuque Hempstead would win tonight, then they would head down to Muscatine unless the state has something else in mind. As the clock hits 0 and the Spartans onto the field, the celebration has begun. They move to 7-2 and will punch their ticket into the Iowa State 4A playoffs, as Assumption seemingly out at 6-3. And really, if you're 6-3 and you don't qualify for the playoffs, then there's really something wrong with that, especially when we see teams on the other side of the state that go in at either 4-5 and 5-4. It's really just not fair.
Well, it's a system that the state association voted on, Pete, so you have to live with that. And, you know, there's probably plays all through the season when you don't make the playoffs. You go back certain games, Assumption against Muscatine and Assumption in this game, and I'm sure, you know, in the back of their minds, they had their chances, though, and they played extremely well for most part of the game.
Let's go, Bill. Go ahead.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for letting me be a part of your season this year. Thank you. Nice working with all of you. Even you, Mr. Larson.